to the first season, first episode of Operation Pathfinder. I'm your host, Ben Williams, United States Air Force veteran of 12 years and a veteran advocate. Made it my mission to be a part of the solution when it comes to helping my fellow veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. A lot of the struggles faced by veterans with PTSD is fear, uncertainty, and confusion. Therefore, folks, I have launched this podcast in a seasonal format, and each season I will address a different aspect with the daily struggles, help, and therapies that will be of value to you. You will hear from fellow veterans, survivors, and professionals who have been there and understand exactly what you're going through. In the first season, I want to explore exactly what PTSD is and the enemy that you're going to be dealing with. PTSD is a silent invader occupying your mind and thoughts. So very subtle at first, this invader creeps in and affects your personality, your emotions, desires, relationships, and ambitions. The battleground used by our enemy, PTSD, is your own mind. PTSD will occupy your thoughts. It will force you to replay your negative experiences and emotions constantly, day in and day out, to where you may actually believe this is your new normal. Next, PTSD will consume your clear conscience and place you in a constant state of fog. The fog inhibits your ability to think clearly, focus on positive results, limits your vision from seeing your growth as a person, and this fog is a primary weapon used by your enemy. It also paralyzes you and stunts you from any type of true happiness. I'm sure you guys are experiencing this right now, and this is what we're going to stop. It is not uncommon for a PTSD warrior to seek out happiness in other forms, such as drinking and drugs and maybe high-risk activity. This war with your mind is consumed by the negative emotions and lacks the sincere strength to produce any type of sustained happiness. This war within is fueled by shame, embarrassment, fear, guilt, lack of trust, and resentment. We all are experiencing that. We've all gone through that, and that is one thing that we need to come to grips with and fight through. PTSD's objective is to destroy any chance of true happiness you want to have in life. There are many causes of PTSD to invade your mind. Oftentimes, the invasion is initiated by a moral wound, sexual trauma, or a life-threatening event. Although many invasions are perpetrated on the combat veteran, PTSD never discriminates. PTSD will attack a veteran just as easily as it would attack a non-veteran. Do not be fooled into believing you're immune from this aggressive attack. Your mind is the fertile ground in which PTSD loves to play in. Small attacks from PTSD may start immediately after a traumatic event or once your mind has freed some space many years later. It will sit dormant until your guard is down and the situation is right. The best process to avoid the attacks is to seek help soon after the triggering event and discuss a battle plan with a field expert or therapist that can provide you resources to mitigate a sustained assault from PTSD. If you're experiencing these attacks right now or not sure what to believe, there is an army of warriors out there willing to help you with your internal war. You are not alone. Many warriors do not believe they are in danger from this relentless onslaught of PTSD, but the people closest to you will notice. The most effective weapon PTSD uses is a broken trust feelings you have. You're going to feel like people have stabbed you in the back, have misled you, have done you wrong. And this is PTSD pounding your mind daily. PTSD will cause you to doubt people who care for you the most. It will also deny you the freedom to believe you deserve happiness at all. You deserve happiness. You could choose to fight through these blitzes. However, PTSD claims the lives of over 20 veterans each day and is responsible for over 10 non-veteran lives each day. Roughly 8% of the American population has been diagnosed with PTSD. And to put that in perspective, that's about the population of the state of Texas. Most of the 40,000 suicides each year in the U.S. is often undiagnosed and untreated mental health disorders. Therefore, the battle for most people when fighting PTSD is too much to bear alone. But you have fellow warriors who care for you, as well as therapists, veteran resources, outside resources as well. Some veterans with PTSD will feel alone in a crowded room, mainly from the ongoing battle with PTSD. It is not uncommon for the inability to express how you feel comes into play, or wondering if you ever will be able to explain how you feel to your loved ones and to get them to understand. This is normal. This is what PTSD does, folks. PTSD keeps you trapped, unable to communicate effectively with others. The inability to communicate also works to stop you from having confidence to express how you feel. The next phase of attacks by PTSD would be isolation. As you do know, a lot of people enjoy the company of friends, family, and loved ones. And PTSD knows that's what most people thrive on. To starve an enemy's strong point, you always stranglehold any supplies, and that's what PTSD does. You may try to convince yourself that you don't need to associate with people, but that's PTSD talking. That's PTSD telling you that we have you, we're not going to let you go, and get you to believe that you're better off alone. Slowly, that is how PTSD takes the lives of many, many people each year. Isolation is a starvation tool for the mind, and PTSD knows that. With PTSD, you will find you no longer have interest in associating with friends and family, going out and enjoying gatherings, or even getting out of bed to go to work what often feels like you're climbing a mountain. Creating and maintaining your Special Operators Resource Team, otherwise known as SORT, is a vital part of your battlefield success. Your SORT team is a term I use to describe my own specialized resources. First one is you want to have a physician or a family doctor, or maybe even a therapist in your corner. This doctor, therapist, as you want to call him, it acts as your intelligence officer. He or she is there to filter information and advise you on how you may fortify your defenses against PTSD. Second is support groups or peer-to-peer groups. These folks are great for providing resources to support your defenses and strengthen your weapons. Resources are the key to survival. A battle buddy is your primary support element when needing long-range sniper coverage. He or she will know you and your strengths and alert you to possible dangers and mitigate those potential threats. As an outside perspective, somebody looking in and seeing what's coming. That's what you need. A primary care physician is your medic. PTSD is a very resourceful enemy. Although your defenses and perimeter may be secure, this enemy will often launch an insurgency attack of your physical well-being, mainly in the form of heart disease, joint damage, loss of appetite. This battle plan is not something you should take on by yourself. The enemy is the toughest, and I repeat, the toughest enemy you'll ever face in your lifetime. But it can be defeated, and you should always be happy. There is nothing you cannot overcome. Your SORT element will make sure to provide you with resources and weapons to fight off these constant attacks and slowly whittle and weaken PTSD. Your team will support you through this minefield and get you through this war. The first important step is to realizing you're in the fight of your life. Know that your battle plan, your battle buddy, and your team will be there, and this fight will be tough, but you have to acknowledge your brothers and sisters that are on your team that are covering your six. We all need each other. We all must come together. We cannot fight this alone. This battle you're facing can and will be overcome. Each episode will explore something new, a person who is winning the war within, professionals trained to help, or therapists or therapies with a proven track record for results. Although the information is thoroughly researched and discussed, I always encourage others to verify everything that I provide. Either you use everything at once or narrow it down and use one at a time. Either way, use these tools, use these weapons, and keep moving on to the next fight. I'm confident that we'll get through this war. Your battle buddy will always be there for you. Before wrapping up this episode, I will be honoring a veteran at the end of each episode as a show of gratitude for their service to our country or their sacrifice to our country. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be around to do what I do. And the best way that I can do is honor them every single day. So today, I'm honoring one veteran. He served his country for 8 years with deployments to Afghanistan and Germany. His loyalty, honor, and integrity carries with him in his daily life. He is none other than my son, Zachary Williams. In the next episode, you will learn where you can find additional resources and to help navigate a better path towards PTSD. My next guest is going to be a spouse who is married to a veteran who is battling every day of his life to get through and beat down this determined enemy of PTSD. And if it wasn't for our spouses or people close to us, God knows where we would be at. So next episode is going to be bringing on somebody who is on the other side of the fence, who is there supporting her husband and giving you a perspective of what a spouse goes through. All right, folks. Well, thank you for listening. And as always, until next time, keep on the move. Operation Pathfinder's podcast is based on my views and experience with PTSD, but will be evidence-based as possible. I welcome any comments, suggestions, or corrections of errors. I take no money from drug companies, device companies, or medical companies. Always consult your physician or therapist for any medical or mental health issue that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guest or contributors to the podcast. Under no circumstances shall Operation Pathfinder, any guest or contributor to the podcast, or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Operation Pathfinder be responsible for any damages arising from the use of this podcast. Please take a moment to subscribe to this free podcast. There's no strings attached, to help build our army of warriors and take back our lives from this deadly enemy known as PTSD. The more subscribers and reviews help fuel our machine and be a beacon to other warriors that are struggling in silence. Thank you.